Good morning, everyone. It's very good morning. Shall we begin? Today's, yes, any doubts anyway in the last class? Yes, we have finished with the various stages with the appendix, how it been introduced in the programming, how it been gathered to make the connections within the research skills, and how it maintains a decorum, or we can say the caring that minimize the risk of the efforts. So planning is a, yes, let's start. Planning is a way of caring because it minimizes the risk. Whenever we plan something in advance, that at most of the times minimizes the risk. So this definition is given by the Kane Haycock. Now, how do we link the pieces of the research skill puzzle together? So various careful plannings or various jurisdictions or various method that is known as the careful planning and the judicious use of the some key concepts, suggestions and the forms that will also bring this puzzle closer to the competition. How it will be formed, how it will be carried out. So many TLMs, that is the teacher resource manuals, for example, contain certain suggestions that dovetail with the stages of the research. This chapter presents the ideas for planning a research and a sampling of the curriculum-based suggestions that will help you put theory into the practice, how it will be made, or how we can judge, how we can make the concepts of the key concept, the suggestions and puzzle that will make this puzzle closer to the completion. And integrating research into the curriculum is also evolutionary. For teachers who are new to integrating research activities, it begins slowly, and teacher and the students also experience a positive development in teaching methods and the skills. Whatever are the skills, whatever the logic that they are carried out, so that will be used for the commitment of the integrating research activity that will increase day to day. Now, how do I work with someone else to initiate research? The ideal situation or condition for developing a research unit that occurs when team teaching or cooperative planning occurs between a teacher librarian and the teacher or between the teachers. So whatsoever the material, whatsoever the guidelines, whatsoever the cooperative planning that have been adapted from the social studies grade 4 to 6 for the TRM. Next is the teacher librarian or teacher planning. Alright. Now the next part is cooperative planning. So ideal situation for a research skill when it occurs, so it leads to a teaching, yeah, that is a team teaching or the cooperative planning that occurs between a teacher librarian and the teacher or between teachers. And the following description of cooperative planning has been adapted from the Social Studies grade 4 to 6 TRM P74 1989. So first is cooperative planning, that of a unit or mini unit involves a teacher and the teacher librarian and uses the library as a primary resource. So the first step is to set out the objectives for the unit and plan out the activities with the teacher librarian. Whatever the teacher librarian method it should use, whatever the activity it should use, so it should use for the objectives of the unit. And the use of library skills that should be integrated into plan. And the extra resource person allows for variations in group size, for example, whole group, two teaching groups, or the small group. That depends on the group size. That may be a whole group means number of the numerous people, two teaching groups, or the small group. There will be a cooperative planning. There should be an involvement of the teacher and the teacher librarian that uses the resources, that uses the library as a primary resource. And the first step is to set out the objectives for the unit and plan out the activities with the teacher librarian. And as example from the different or from topic 4C, in which students are expected to learn about the similarities and differences between the Alberta and the Cuba, that shows some of the possibilities for cooperative learning of cooperative planning. So first your student gets together or get together in the groups and come up with a list of the similarities and the differences between the Alberta and the Cuba. What is the similarity or what is the difference, and both the similarity and the difference between the Alberta and the Cuba. And the teacher and the teacher librarian circulate to assist students. Then as a class, the students come up with a composite list. Then this composite list is also grouped up into categories such as the geography, resources, occupation, leisure activities, language, and the customs. So whatever the activities that they've taken out, so they're taken out with the similarities and the differences between the Alberta and the Cuba. And the whole chart of the categories is made up by the teacher or the teacher librarian during the discussion. And students also reproduce it in their notebooks. Then second point is teacher and the teacher librarian explains to students that they will complete their chart as they work through the 4 stations that is shown below, and the groups of 3 to 4 children or students proceed to stations where they gather the information for their chart for their well-bounding or well-binding situations where they gather their information. And the teacher and the teacher librarian also circulates and help the students in viewing the station, that is the pictures, film strips, videos, films, listening stations, audio tapes, recorded interview, recorded stories or the articles. Then interviewing station, that is resource people, reading station, reference books, article from magazines. Whatsoever the article that they're taking out, whatsoever the listening skills, viewing station, interviewing station, reading station that they carried out, so they will proceed to the station where they gather the information from their chart. The next is teacher or the teacher librarian or teacher or the teacher planning. So cooperative planning of a unit or mini unit with a colleague or a team of teachers that should be approached in the same manner as with the teacher librarian, except that 2 or more classes are now involved. And in the case of the team planning approach, each student brings special talents that could be used or that can be used. This special talent will also divide the labor and the lighten the workload. And after the unit planning is complete, each teacher adapts the unit to the needs of the student. Whatever the need of the student, that may be a teacher librarian student, teacher planning, that may be a teacher guidance. That divides the labor and lighten the workload. Now, this is one of the example, but if I am all alone. So teachers who are new to integrating research are advised to focus on the teacher-directed approach to implementing the research activities, how it involved with how it includes all the stages and the skills. For example, a teacher can provide information related to the planning stage to the student and also use students to practice. Stage 2 is information retrieval of locating the resources. And this approach is also very much effective only if the skills is integrated with the classroom activities. For example, if a class is studying dinosaurs, students should be asked or could be asked to locate the various types of resources, that may be a print resources, that may be a non-print and human, which are available in their school or community. And in this situation, students must be given instructions in how to locate different types of resources. In another class, the resources that should be gathered ahead of the time that should be taught information processing skills and other aspects of the research continue. So whatever the research activities, whatever the focus that they directed out, so that includes all the stages and the skills. So that will be given with the locating resources, that will be given to integrate with the classroom activities. That must be taught together, that must be taught the information processing skills or another aspects. Now, how do I start with? That means what is the beginning point of this? So step number 1 is curriculum objectives. What is the main curriculum objective? That means the syllabus of this. What is the curriculum? That what must I teach? Then step number 2 is student needs. What are their needs? Yeah. what is the main need of the require, or what is the main need of what are the students need, what is the main requirement, what they want from the customer point of view. So step number 1 is curriculum objective. Then step number 2 is student needs. Then step number 3 is resources. What resources are available and what resources are needed. Then step number 4 is what skills should I teach? What are the various skills that should I teach, or what are the various curriculum objectives that I teach? Then step number 5 is implementation. So curriculum objectives, student needs, resources, discuss skills, and the implementation. These are the 5 stages. These are the 5 stages that will be carried out while preparing or while planning for a research, while getting out the research. Now, some steps that mirror the research models and the stages that will be proven to be very successful when implementing or while implementing an introductory teacher level, that is a teacher directed research activity. So stage number 5 is stage number 1 is planning. So decide in which unit you will begin your research breakthrough. Decide on the scope and the end product of the research activity. These are on the planning part. So which unit will be used, or how we can begin with your research, or how we can begin with our research. What is the drawback, or what is the main scope of the research? So decide on the scope and end product of the research activity. Then stage number 2 is information retrieval. Select appropriate resources and plan for their usage. And this activity plan may have to be redefined at this point to take out or to take into account available resources. What are the various available resources that will be carried out, that will take into account, that will be redefined at this point to take into the resources available or the data available or that is planned for the use. Then determine the order in which the unit and the research activity will be taught. What activity or what research skills will be stressed. Where the activity will happen. Where means the place. Introduce the activity to the class as an integrated part of classroom or integrated part of the classroom studies. Then monitor the students' work as they apply related research skills. Whatever the work they have done, so monitor them, evaluate them, analyze them, so that they can apply the related research skills in their work. Evaluate the students' work on an ongoing basis and determine the appropriateness and availability of the resources and the success of the research activity. Encourage the student self-evaluation and on an ongoing basis. Then decide on the methods of improving the objectives of the assignment. Focus on increasing the student's autonomy, whatever the student autonomy criteria that will be taken out, that will be used to improve over the various methods to improve the objectives of the assignments. That is stage number 5. So these are the 5 stages in which curriculum will be developed for the internal stage. So just read out, and if there is any doubt, then please clarify the doubt. Now the next focus, or the next topic that we are going to discuss is the library research. So students need to be taught how to gather information, not just assigned a task, but they're told how to get the information, how to gather the information, and students should be given practice developing the research activities, research questions, by doing it as a class and proceeding to the students thinking of their own, thinking of with their styles, and 2 important steps are also needed in researching a compile questions before research, answer questions in own words, not the copied, and make notes in the point form, that is unless footnote. So compile the questions before the research, answer the questions in their own words, that is not copied words, and make the notes in the point form, that is the library research. The students need to be taught how to gather the information, not just assigned a task. And students should be given practice developing research questions by doing it as a class and proceeding to the question thinking of their own. And by teaching the students how to do the written assignments for the research and the writing, parallelism will maybe eliminated, maybe restored. So by doing so, it will happen how to write the assignments, how both for the research purpose and both for the writing purpose. First is the planning, that includes choosing the subject, develop questions for research. Who, why, what, where, when, how. So who will develop, why, what, where, when, and how. So planning is just for asking, just for developing the questions for the research. Then second is identifying the source of information. What are the various sources of information that is developed, that is used. So identifying the sources of information, but information that should be developed, but information that should be gathered. Then locating and gathering information, that may be a print, that may be a non-print. Then reading, interpreting, main ideas, the related ideas, relationships, cartoons, picture, charts, table, graphs, maps. So these are the various interpreting or the reading terms. Then listening and the viewing, also known as the interpreting, point of view, purpose or the message, bias or the slant. The next is organizing information, classify, categorize, sequence, that is the note-taking or the note-making, answers to the research questions written in the sequence of the student's own words, not the copied words or in the point form. Then webbing, mind mapping or the charting, this is how we can organize the information either in the note-making form, either in the note-taking form, either to classify, categorize, sequence, webbing, mind mapping or the charting. So these are the various steps that will be used for the written assignment, both for the reading and the writing. Then analyzing, evaluating and summarize the information, that is develop the conclusions, generalizations, making the decisions, what is the main decision that will be taken out, that will be decided, which will make the oral presentations, we will make the written assignments, whatsoever the data that will be used. Now this is a checklist for the teacher guide for the planning research. Assignment, curriculum fit, format, research procedures to be taught, evaluation, with the purpose, what is the purpose, to introduce, to review, to expand information and the knowledge, to focus, that is example, general information, subject specific, opinion, issue based. So assignments will include for the evaluation for the research procedures to be taught. The next is the students' ability and the stage of the development, learning preferences, social grouping, cooperative learning skills. And resources, school library, other libraries, teacher librarian, other resource people, community and the others. So these are the various resources that will be handled for the library, that will be handled for the teacher librarian, that will be handled for the research people or the resource people. Whatsoever the community, whatsoever the data, whatsoever the library, whatsoever the teacher librarian method that we are using out, these are the various resources for guiding or for planning out the research. That is a checklist. Next is the goals, concept to practice or to apply research procedures to improve the decision-making ability. whatsoever the decision-making ability that will be improved by making the decisions, by making or apply or practice the research procedures. The next is skills. Skills includes to plan for research, to work in a variety of social situations, then to support a personal opinion, then attitude, to develop an appreciation for the knowledge and the culture. What is the knowledge? What is the culture? What is an appreciation for practicing for knowledge and the culture? To recognize that a variety of opinion exists. Variety of opinion will be gathered, will be appreciated for the knowledge and the culture. To recognize that a variety of opinion exists from the point of the people, from the point of view of the gathering of the information. To develop or experience pride in creating a product desired to improve future efforts, to understand and value effective research procedures, to appreciate the need or to appreciate need for the lifelong learning skills. That needs will be as per the requirement. These needs will use for the lifelong learning activities. This is a diagram that shows that planning includes various stages that will be included in the procedure activity that will be included in the various steps. So teacher may find out the following simple research activity plan that is very useful. Not only does this outline a unit teaching plan, but it also provides signposts to be aware of what considered or what is used to their research activity. That includes the planning procedure, that includes the method for the teacher and the activities for the students. And this simple activity or the sample provides a research activity plan that involves all 5 research stages, and most of the skills are from the research stage or research model that includes or that is known as the risk taking, that you may or may not decide to use the total approach in your own first research activity. That will include for the planning form that is provided in the appendixes only for the research activities regardless of the level of the skill of the size.